What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about Rezolve AI. I want to go over some of the data points, what has been moving it, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So Rezolve over the last several days hasn't really done the best, nor has a lot of other growth in AI stocks. There seems to be a very big rotation out of these types of plays, despite many of them being at a pretty substantial discount. In Rezolve's case, there's been a lot of things happening. So it's been a while since I've done a Rezolve video, so I kind of took a week off, did a little quick trip, but definitely did see a lot of volatility in the broader market. And in Rezolve's case, we did have one big piece of news that came out. So I'll kind of dive deep into that, but for today, the big thing is going to be CPI. That's coming out at 7:30, so roughly around 30 minutes from now. This will be the big market mover. Currently, futures are somewhat stagnant. We're seeing somewhat lower volume as well, so big money clearly is just waiting for this to be hopefully the green light to really move things higher. We do not want this data to be negative because, of course, inflation is on the Fed's radar, and yeah, essentially we want it to be kind of at the very bare minimum par, if not a lot lower. So again, that's something just to kind of keep in mind. But in Rezolve's case, they did put out this news on February the 11th. So I know it's kind of outdated information because it's already been a couple days, but for Rezolve investors, this has been what's been really moving it. So Rezolve AI acquires Reward for $230 million to accelerate innovation in AI-powered banking and commerce. So for those of you that kind of watch my channel, you know I'm not here to BS you. I'm not here to hype you up nor bring you down. There's way too many individuals out there really just pumping stocks when they're not being kind of fair. And so in this news, I don't like it. And because they did pay $230 million all cash. But looking at some of the stats that they did provide for Reward, it seems crappy. So doing a little bit more of a deeper dive, it turns out Dan was actually on the board of Reward. Recently did step down, and so of course there seems to be some connection there, but I don't see this benefiting Rezolve. And if anything, Rezolve needs to pivot and get away from Europe and all the other continents and focus more on North America. That's what they are doing, and that's what their big plan for Q2 is going to be. But based on this, it looks like Rezolve has a strong kind of backing and presence across the UK, Europe, Middle East, Asia. North America isn't listed. So I think in general, Rezolve is just, I feel like they're in the stage of just acquiring any and anyone. It just doesn't logically make sense, in my opinion, for this to happen. So again, whenever you have those types of scenarios where it doesn't logically make sense, you kind of have to look for kind of sketchy things. And Dan being on the board of Reward definitely does stand out. When it comes down to this as well, whenever a company needs to actually do a kind of a chat, then you clearly know that the market doesn't like it at all. So this is one thing that did also happen a couple days back. So on February the 12th, 8 a.m. or 8:30 a.m. looks like Rezolve did have a chat. I didn't tune into this, so for those of you that did, let me know if there was anything that of substance. But clearly the fact that they did have to do this is just very clear that it wasn't the greatest. At the same time, we did get a new rating that was right down here, and that was a AGP reducing their rating from 14 to 13. And so they still put it as a buy, but for them to reduce their target clearly shows that that news as well and that big acquisition was not worth it. Because as I've mentioned, a lot of these B name firms, all of them kind of give ratings because Rezolve participates in their fireside chats and things along those lines. So the fact that AGP is reducing their price target, that definitely is also another red flag. Again, this might all be very unpopular opinion, but I'm not here to BS you. I kind of break it down on exactly what the market is truly thinking. Of course, I can spend like an hour just talking about how this kind of acquisition could be good, but I don't believe it's in the best interest of Rezolve, of where they're trying to really target. Like Europe hasn't really done too well for Rezolve overall. They really need to pivot to the States if they're going to hit their very ambitious targets. Regarding shorts, 15.36% of the free floats being shorted, works out to be 33 million shares overall being shorted. Since I kind of took a little bit of a break, shorts did increase from roughly around 13% to 15.36. So they have been starting to kind of get back in. Some of that could be just macro conditions, macro fears, or some of it could be because of this news again right here. So let me know your viewpoint on that. With today being Friday, this is the open interest. So with it right now during the pre-market at 225, you do have about 616 at the $2.50 strike price. So nothing really crazy. Don't anticipate any gamma squeeze or whatever else. Market does seem to be, like I said, just very much holding its breath for CPI. So that'll be a big deal. But right now, with it closing at 224, yesterday, it is trading between this S1 and this S2. So $1.89 and then 246 is going to be the next strong support and target. So today really needs to fight and get above that 246. Again, depending on how data comes out, you could see a nice little bit of a recovery in the broader market. So Rezolve could really move higher, but it needs to get above that 246. If not, then it is going to continue to trend down, merely just based on the technicals. From yesterday, we did see a lot of transactions, not all that much in buys. So you had roughly around 4 buys and the rest were sells. One big one as well, 6.05 million. So one institution did sell Rezolve. Again, could be because of the analyst rating or just general market conditions. I do analyze a lot of options activity, out of the money options activity across the board, and there seems to have been a big rotation and more of a hedging type occurring over the last couple of trading days. So it looks like big money is anticipating kind of more volatile times ahead. But these are all the transactions that did occur yesterday. Sorry, I'll pull this up right here. So for the 12th, these are all the ones that did occur yesterday. So not all that much. So of course, some of this, most of this, I'm sure was linked to shorts. But again, just kind of watch for 246. That's going to be the next key point to get over. Aside from that though, on the actual chart itself, this is where it's more of a falling knife. So it is below all the key pivotal moving averages. 219, that is going to be a key level as well to really watch for today. If it does break below that, then this is going to be more of a psychological kind of push lower. And this is where you could see that kind of high ones being hit next. So Rezolve definitely is a very volatile stock. It's one of those ones that if you have kind of, as weird as to say it, if you have kind of balls of steel and you have a long-term time horizon, then I'm sure Rezolve is going to do very, very well. If you're trying to catch to the bottom, I feel like Rezolve needs to really kind of let investors know why they need to truly buy. Because if they put out news and then following that news feel the need to do a call, then clearly they're doing something wrong. So, and a lot of individuals as well have asked me, what do I feel is Rezolve's bigger plan? And I do believe, based on Dan's history, Dan likes to build up a good company, build up a good base, and then sell it. So I feel like over possibly 2027, 2028, Rezolve is going to be sold to one of the big tech firms, most likely, I would assume, Microsoft or some other kind of big name. That's just my opinion. The price at that time is anyone's guess, but that is what I do believe is Rezolve's bigger plan. So this is a quick video on what's been really happening with Rezolve. Again, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Some people might disagree with me on that, and that is completely fine. So let me know your general thoughts on Rezolve. Are you buying? Did you buy? Are you selling? What are you generally doing? One final thing, pop over to my Patreon if you're looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto. Put out daily day trades, numerous swing trades, worthwhile to pop over there and check that out. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.